back in the old days when humans were living in villages or tribal, people didn't live till they were past 50 in most cases.
Right.
Now we want to live really healthy till we're 80 or 90 years old.
Yeah.
And our B12, just like our vision, we might need glasses, and just our intestines might not absorb B12 as much. I've listened to you guys talk about one of the episodes you were talking about plant-based milk, and definitely I'm a firm believer that the most sustainable and healthy plant-based milk is soy milk. And that's really important. And I think it's really important in the Indian diet that when we change something, if you're taking something that's normally animal-based and replacing it with something plant-based, you have to be really careful about that. Because animal-based milk in India, for many people, it's the only source of B12.
Right.
Yeah.
For many people, it makes up even, 25 or even 50% of their protein intake.
Yeah.
They're heavily dependent on this for protein intake.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in an otherwise overall low protein diet, they may be getting less than 0.8 grams per kilogram or 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. So it's the B12, and it's one of their major calcium sources as well. So what we should be doing is not just telling, hey, stop drinking milk, or hey, I want you to buy these, just make soy milk at home or something like that, which is a great thing to do. But are you making it at the right concentration to get the protein that you need? Are you putting B12? Are you replacing your B12? Right?
Yeah.
And are you replacing your calcium to the extent that we think that we optimize our calcium intake? Not just you're getting some calcium from somewhere, but are you truly getting 1,000 milligrams plus or minus, depending on your age, gender, stage of life, and whether you're pregnant or not, or breastfeeding? Are you getting really the amount of calcium that is recommended, right? So one of the things I highly promote in India is that we have plant-based milks that are fortified with calcium and B12, but at the same time, not packaged in Tetra Paks. Because on the environmental side, the problem is that things like Tetra Paks and the packaging of a lot of plant-based foods, which are marketed as sustainable, but it's actually not true. Because the packaging itself, you're talking about, Tetra Paks, people use billions per day of Tetra Paks, or hundreds of millions per day, and billions and trillions in a year, the numbers really add up, and plant-based foods contributing to that waste stream, and Tetra Paks being one of the most destructive things, plastic packaging being one of the most destructive things to the environment. We can't call ourselves sustainable. We're a little bit better being plant-based rather than animal-based. The product inside the Tetra Pak is better, but overall the product is destroying the environment as well. Right. So what we need, the two things that I really highly promote that we should try to get industry to do or businesses to do in India is, number one, spray-dried soy milk. Now you have that in India already. Spray-dried soy milk is actually super tasty. Packaged without Tetra Paks, one container can contain many, many servings of plant-based milk rather than one serving per container, right? So you drastically reduce the amount of packaging. And you could theoretically have refillable one day. We can get to that, I hope. But it needs to be supplemented with vitamin B12 and calcium. Because currently the spray-dried soy milks in India, people are not putting B12 and calcium in them. And this is a problem because if you're replacing your dairy with let's say a soy milk that doesn't have B12 or calcium, that's a problem. You can't claim that it's healthier unless you've done those things. Right? So a lot of times there's false environmental claims or impressions and health claims too, because we haven't done a proper job. Yet it's not out of reach. We can do this. The other thing that I'd love to see in India, and I've seen a couple of small businesses do this, is using reusable containers for fresh soy milk.
Yeah.
Just the way a lot of people get milk delivered to their door every day. It comes from the cow and it comes in the morning. Somebody comes and knocks on the door and pours milk from their container into your container. If you have plant-based milk that is made fresh every day and supplemented with calcium and vitamin B12 and delivered to your door, or you fill it up with like bottles. It could be like metal bottles, metallic bottles, or glass bottles, which you then return back to the same person who will clean them and refill them again. But you have daily fresh soy milk. That would be fantastic. Those are the two things that are very doable in India, and I hope that it will be done. And I hope that the plant-based sort of community or the vegan community will encourage businesses, saying that we absolutely need this in India. Absolutely. And it needs to be affordable. This is huge. I'm a big person about social justice. I care about animals and I care about humans. And the global poor, it's critical to support the global poor, many of whom are in India. And that's who I work with. When I'm in India, I'm working with people who are poor, people who are some of the poorest people in India when I'm working in villages in Kutch, when I was doing that, and when I'm working in Haiti. A lot of the products that are marketed in India for vegan and plant-based are targeted towards rich kind of audiences with the aim of like, hey, I'm going to be famous, make a fancy product with a fancy packaging, right? And hit this sort of upper class in India, which is so wealthy, and I can make a really great business out of it. But at the same time, we should be supporting the poor people in India and making plant-based food healthy, nutritious, accessible, and excellent quality for everybody to access. And I hope that the vegan plant-based community and businesses will really take on this challenge because it's so necessary, And so spray-dried soy milk can be very cheap. It can be cheaper than dairy milk, but it should be supplemented with B12 and calcium. And same with daily made soy milk. If you scale it up and you eliminate the packaging and make it daily delivered, you can reduce the cost, increase the quality, and really, really have something that's environmentally friendly, right? And so there, and make it accessible to poor people. It's a quadruple win. It's a win-win-win-win. If we do it right and think of it right. The other thing that we need in India is we need a cheap and accessible vitamin B12. Okay. Or maybe even like they have in Europe, they have a Veg 1 vitamin that has like B12 and a few other things that people who are plant-based or vegan or something like that can have. Now, the most important nutrient is B12 for people to replace. And as I think you mentioned in a previous podcast as well, hey, a lot of people have B12 deficiency. People who are omnivores, and especially if you get older, omnivores have B12 deficiency all the time. And especially if you're older, you have gastrointestinal diseases in developing countries, especially. People have malabsorption for whatever reason. People take PPIs, right? Proton pump inhibitors and antacids.
What is a PPI? The acronym stands for proton pump inhibitor. And as the name suggests, it prevents the proton pumps in your stomach from creating too much stomach acid. Proton pumps are tiny, atomic level size pumps that secrete hydrochloric acid, which is, of course, an extremely acidic substance. And this is what helps in digestion and is a normal part of your stomach environment. However, in people that have too much acid or have other problems in their anatomy leading to acid reflux disease, which causes pain, burning, burping, etc., these PPIs are used for treatment. The problem is long-term use has been associated with many problems, and this is over years of use. Infection, especially gastrointestinal infection, osteoporosis, which is thinning of the bones, and many more. All right, let's keep listening.
Right? That inhibits absorption. Age, because back in the old days when humans were living in villages or tribal, people didn't live till they were past 50 in most cases. Right. Now we want to live really healthy till we're 80 or 90 years old. Yeah. And our B12, just like our vision, we might need glasses, and just our intestines might not absorb B12 as much. So even under normal circumstances, people can be B12 deficient as an omnivore, but certainly with all these other factors, there's more deficiencies. So everybody's got to be replacing. Now we do know that, of course, vegetarians and plant-based people have a higher risk, and vegans have the highest risk of B12 deficiency, right? So we got to replace this. But we need to have a cheap, well-known, sustainable source of B12 that, again, is not full of plastic packaging. Yeah. Because a lot of times you have those little blister packs that you pop out the B12 individually and stuff like that. Again, that causes, those will be consumed in the millions and billions. And lead to more plastic junk and waste. Can the plant-based community do this in a way that absolutely minimizes the packaging waste and provides a very cheap, effective B12 for the general population that everybody can afford? And everybody knows about too. It should be marketed in a way that everybody knows about this thing and can get it. And then you can also make a Veg 1 vitamin that throws in a couple of micronutrients. Like we can put a little bit of extra zinc in there, or a tiny bit of iodine, or whatever it is that we might find that could be deficient in the Indian population. I think most of the salt in India is iodized. So if you're eating enough salt, you'll get enough iodine. But some people are on low sodium diets, so they may be more careful about their iodine intake. And zinc, if you're generally eating lots of lentils and beans and, let's say, tofu and soybeans, things like that, you're going to get enough zinc, generally speaking, whole grains, etc. Zinc follows the protein in our food. But we still maybe have a little bit mindful if we want to like super optimize our diets, right? So like you might have a little vitamin that has a tiny bit of iodine and a little bit of zinc and like a little extra iron and things like that in there too, just to make up, because people are so messy. Even if you're following a plant-based diet, you think you're doing a good job. People are so messy. They think they're doing a better job than they are in many cases, right?
Yeah,
so you can always improve that a little bit, right? And so we can sometimes have like a Indian version of a Veg 1 vitamin. I'd love to see something like that occur in India, but the most important thing is still the B12, and out of all the things, because the other stuff, hey, a pretty good diet will generally cover it, but let's just make sure, let's be a little, because we're trying to super optimize our diets in many cases,
So, two great business ideas that you just said. Like, I think whoever is listening right now I hope they picked up, let somebody come up with a phenomenal plant-based, maybe a spray-dried soy formulation that can be just brought to your home. And the second one is the B12. Thank you so much, Dr. Mehta. I'm hoping somebody's picked it up, right?
Have you guys tried spray-dried soy milk? Have you ever tried that?
No, we only
we have the soy, we've gotten the soy milk powder where you just reconstitute it, but not
Which one though? Which brand?
It's called Urban Platter. It's called, which is where I get all of my stuff.
Yeah, Urban Platter has a spray-dried soy milk. That's probably spray-dried soy milk.
Is it? Okay, good. Yeah, that's good. I tasted it.
Yeah. So Urban Platter makes spray-dried soy milk.
Yeah. Hopefully
there's also another company called... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, we have been working with a bunch of at least 4 or 5 food companies, including Urban Platter. So we can, kind of hopefully present this and say, think about this as a good opportunity. What
was the other company you were going to say?
Yeah, the other company that I know of is called EMK.
Yes, I know they make a vegan ghee, but I didn't know about their soy milk, so I'll have to check that.
So the vegan ghees and stuff like that, they should not be promoted as a health product because they're made out of it's either palm oil or coconut oil. Used minimally. Okay, I had a vegan wedding in India. My wife and we got married in India, and we made it all vegan, plastic free. Wedding
awesome.
in Kutch. So we had a lot of fun, and we did use their ghee, but it's to minimum. I generally, don't put any ghee on my rotis when I'm in India. And sometimes if you put a little bit of flaxseed oil or something like that, flaxseed oil kind of has that ghee flavor, and it's actually really healthy for you too. Exactly. So that might be like a little alternative. But or eat whole grain rotis without ghee. And when they're coming off fresh and hot from the tawa, they're amazing, So you don't need to get out of the habit of requiring ghee and oil on everything, right? But yes, their spray-dried soy milk is tasty, and they add a bit of milk flavor to it too. So it's a little bit different than the Urban Platter one. But those are both spray-dried soy milks. And that's different than the soy milk, the powdered soy milk you get in Canada and the US. We can't get spray-dried soy milk over here. I haven't found it over here. I love this stuff. It tastes so good. But the fresh delivered at home, that's not spray-dried. The fresh delivered at home,
that'd be great.
That's like fresh made liquid coming to your house, hot from the soy milk machine. And so those are the two ways that we'd love to see soy milk in India. But let's work with Urban Platter.
Sorry, go ahead.
Let's work with Urban Platter to really encourage. I've emailed them in the past. Please put calcium. And the nice thing is you can put more calcium in the soy milk than exists in the dairy milk. Dairy milk, may have like 250 or 300 milligrams of calcium per 250 ml volume. We can make it a little bit more than that. And we can add B12 to the level that it's 5 micrograms, between 5 and 10 micrograms per serving of the soy milk. So you can really get your B12 through the soy milk. You can make this stuff good. Put like 5 micrograms per serving of per 8 grams of protein that you get from your soy milk.
Cup of soy milk.
You can get, let's say, 5 micrograms of B12. And if you start putting it in approximately that proportion, you now have a super milk with calcium and B12, and it's cheaper and it's ecological. It's fantastic. So we can definitely beat dairy milk in health, but we shouldn't be claiming that it's healthier to the point until we make sure those 2 components are there.
So at this point, we should end this part, and we'll continue on in the next part. But in the meanwhile, our listeners can go to our website.
In case you are just so excited for the next one that you can barely contain yourselves and you miss the sound of our voices, they'll always be there for you on circeehealth.com/podcast. Did we mention that?